What's up, everyone? So, a couple days ago, Trump gave a historic speech at the Israeli Knesset, and it didn't go smoothly. A member of the Knesset, Ofer Cassif from the communist Hadash party, literally rushed at Trump during the speech and was dragged out. In this new interview, Piers Morgan sits down with him to ask why he did it. This interview gets intense.
Well, joining me now is Ofer Cassif, who represents the communist Hadash party. Was one of the protesters ejected from Knesset. Welcome to you, Mr. Cassif. Why did you do what you did today?
Because President Trump was a part and parcel, a complicit in the ongoing genocide that Israel pursued in the Gaza Strip. And today to refer to him as if he was the savior of the Palestinians and mainly of the Israeli hostages, that's simply a sheer lie. I couldn't really tolerate this cult of personality that was going on today in the Knesset to both Trump and Netanyahu, when we all know that they are responsible for the fact that the terrible genocide and the sacrifice of the Israeli hostages didn't stop almost 1 year ago, or as far as Trump is concerned, when he took office. That could be prevented, but he didn't want to. And so we had to say something about it. This is a day of joy, I must say. This is a day of joy. We supported the families of the hostages, and we wanted and we struggled for the hostages, as well as to end the genocide. But this joy is mixed with pain and sadness, to which Trump is responsible too. We cannot ignore that.
Well, President Trump came to office. The inauguration was in the third week of January this year. And by the end of September into early October, he has managed to secure the release of all remaining hostages, and he's ended the war. You know, many would look at that historically and say that actually that's an extraordinary achievement, that the failure, if you want to call it that, came on Joe Biden's watch when there was no containment at all of Netanyahu in terms of what he was doing in Gaza. Donald Trump appears to have correctly, in my opinion, but forcefully brought Netanyahu to heel and made him finally stop the bombardment of Gaza and has got the hostages released, and 20 of them are still alive. That is a remarkable achievement. But you seem to prefer to sully the achievement and sully the moment and the joy of the moment by blaming him, Donald Trump, for the actions of your own Prime Minister.
No, I do not blame him for the actions of the Prime Minister of Israel. I blame him, or say that he's responsible to a great extent, that the Prime Minister of Israel and the government of Israel could pursue and could violate the agreement. Let's not forget, first of all, let me say that I totally agree with you about what you said about Biden's administration. No doubt about that. But we must again pay attention to what really was. We cannot deform reality and the truth just because it's easy today. I do not say that about you. I said that about many members of the Knesset who participated in this, forgive me, orgy of cult of personality, which I really cannot accept, whoever the person is. But again, there was an agreement already. The agreement was consisted of a few stages, and the second stage could set free many of the hostages and to stop the carnage in Gaza. The government of Israel, led by Netanyahu, decided one-sidedly to violate the agreement, and they got their back saved by Trump.
So Cassif is making a pretty bold argument here. He's saying Trump is complicit in the Gaza genocide because he didn't stop it when he took office. But here's the thing, and Piers makes this point. Trump literally did get the hostages released and ended the bombardment. That happened under his watch, not Biden's. Now, Cassif's counter-argument is interesting. He's saying there was already an agreement in place with multiple stages, and Netanyahu violated it with Trump's backing. So in his view, Trump enabled the continuation of operations that killed thousands more Palestinians and potentially more hostages. That's a very different framing than what we're hearing in mainstream coverage. Whether you agree or not, it's worth hearing the perspective from someone actually in the Israeli government who opposed this.
We cannot ignore that. So he is responsible. To say thank you to Trump today, if it wasn't so tragic to both Israelis and Palestinians, it would have been a joke. Because it's like saying, it's like that I, pushed you, perish the thought, from the upstairs, push you down and run very fast downstairs to catch you, and then I say I saved you. That's exactly the metaphor for what was going on here with Trump. He's responsible for the continuation of the sacrifice of the hostages, as well as the genocide in Gaza since March up till now. Thousands of Palestinians in Gaza died because of that, and who knows how many hostages and Israeli soldiers also were killed because of that. They could have been saved. We should never forget that.
So that's a perspective you're definitely not going to hear on most American news channels. A member of the Israeli Knesset calling Trump complicit in genocide and saying the ceasefire could have happened a year ago. Cassif's metaphor at the end is pretty striking. I push you downstairs, then catch you and say I saved you. That's how he views Trump's role here. Look, you can disagree with his position, but he's an elected Israeli official who was there, who saw what happened, and he's willing to say it publicly, even knowing the backlash he'll face. The question is, was Trump the dealmaker who ended the war, or did he enable Netanyahu to continue operations longer than necessary? The answer probably depends on which media sources you trust and which officials you believe. What do you think? Was Cassif right to disrupt the speech, or was this disrespectful? Drop your thoughts below.